The relationship between King Charles, Princess Diana, and Camilla Parker-Bowles is called the love triangle of the century for a reason. Lady Di knew about her husband's affair for years but still tried to win his heart. Was the prince so cruel, or just was crazy in love with Camilla? Today we will tell you what really happened. Subscribe, hit the bell, and you will find out who suited Charles more, a cheerful friend of his youth or a perfect princess. Diana blamed her rival for her ruined marriage, which made the whole country hate Camilla. Yet, years later, none other than Prince Harry stood up for her.
I have a huge amount of compassion for her, being the third person within my parents' marriage.
But is it true that Camilla was only the third party in this union? Let's look at the development of this love affair. After all, some people think that it was not Parker-Bowles who was superfluous in this relationship. Charles and Camilla first met at a polo match in Windsor Park in 1970. Passion flared immediately. Both loved polo and outdoor activities and had the same sense of humor. According to legend, it was the first line by Camilla that struck Charles on the spot.
They say my great-grandmother was your great-great-grandfather's mistress. Looks like we'll have a lot in common.
The prince was madly in love. He admired that Camilla adored life in the countryside with horses and hunting, just like him. But their romance was not destined to last long. Camilla had a string of boyfriends, and the heir to the throne could not marry a girl with such a past. On that sad note, the prince joined the Royal Navy, and Camilla forced her boyfriend, Andrew Parker-Bowles, to lead her down the aisle. In 1973, Camilla got married as quickly as possible. The groom didn't even propose when they announced their engagement. Charles was crushed, but he knew that he should let her go. After all, the prince was obliged to fulfill his duty to the country and find a future queen. And there was a perfect contender. Charles met Diana Spencer in 1977 while he was still dating her sister, Sarah, and came to visit her family's estate. Sarah didn't care about romance with the prince, but her little sister tried to win over Charles. In September 1980, at his request, the Queen invited Diana to Balmoral Castle for a weekend. The sweet and naive beauty has made the 30-year-old prince's heart melt, and he proposed to her.
I'm amazed that she's been brave enough to take me on.
And I suppose in love.
Of course.
Whatever in love means.
This awkward engagement interview left scars on Diana's soul.
And this ridiculous reporter said, "Are you in love?" I thought, what a thick question. So I said, "Yes, of course, we are." And Charles turned around and said, "Whatever love means." And that threw me completely. I thought, what a strange answer. It traumatized me.
She had only seen Charles a couple of times before his sudden marriage proposal. It was as if he wanted to get married as quickly as Camilla pushed Parker-Bowles down the aisle. The wedding of the century was gorgeous, and Lady Di's dress cost $500,000. Later, the princess will call this day the most miserable in her life. After all, during her honeymoon, she will find letters to Camilla and a bracelet with the letters F and G. In addition, it was not just a friendly knick-knack. The couple gave each other nicknames, Fred and Gladys, after their favorite The Goon Show, and called each other all these years. The naive and in-love Diana cast her doubts aside. She was pregnant with her first child and did not want to see red flags in her marriage. The main one was that the public and the press loved Di more than they loved her shackled, stiff husband. Charles hated being second. However, Diana did not even understand she overpowered him. She tried to be the best princess for him and his family. She gave birth to 2 cute boys and went headlong into motherhood. Di began to dress better and participated in charity events to win him over. Diana dreamed of being closer to Charles. Yet, the prince did not want this. After having Prince Harry, Charles realized he had nothing in common with Diana. The princess wasn't very fond of his favorite theater and politics, and Charles had less and less time for his wife.
My husband goes to a lot of dinners, whereas the wives aren't required, so we can't always find a date to suit both of us.
Apart from discussing the children, Charles and Diana barely spoke to each other. She was 13 years younger, had celebrity friends, and was the life of every party. People were drawn to the princess like the sun. That infuriated Charles. He did so much for the monarchy only to be bypassed by his own wife. By 1986, the marriage of Waleses was falling apart. 2 mutual friends, concerned about the fate of Charles, contacted Camilla and urged her to talk to him. She called her former lover, and from that moment, their affair resumed. After all, she, too, was lonely in her marriage. Camilla's husband was a terrible womanizer, and she endured cheating for years. Only now, she forced another unfortunate woman to go through this. Camilla and Charles often went hunting together, and everyone suspected that the couple was not enjoying the nature. At a reception in 1989, Lady Di openly conflicted her husband's mistress.
You know, Camilla was the one that said, well, it's all right for you, you've got, you know, 2 lovely boys and so forth, as if that excused what was happening.
What followed was the real scandal of the decade. The tabloids listened to the telephone conversations between Charles and Camilla.
I would endure anything for you. This is love. This is the power of love.
Camilla told him in another secretly recorded conversation published in 1993. Soon we will tell how she proved her love to the prince. Watch the video until the end, so you don't miss what Camilla risked for Charles. However, these hard days were still ahead. In 1995, Lady Di gave her most honest interview to the BBC, where she blamed Camilla for her divorce.
It was 3 of us in this marriage. You think it's a bit crowded.
Neither she nor the public understood what the prince lacked in their marriage. Charles later admitted that Camilla gave him the opportunity to hide from strict royal duties like no other.
I mean, she's remarkable, really. She's the best listener in the world, you see, so she can get anything out of anybody.
Charles needed such support after his divorce in 1996, as he and Camilla faced terrible backlash from the public. While Diana rushed headlong to look for love, she lacked so much. She found it with the handsome millionaire Dodi Al-Fayed. The couple traveled to Paris to choose an engagement ring. However, she was not destined to wear it. In August 1997, Lady Di and her lover died in an accident. Charles was left as a single father with 2 sons. Therefore, Camilla had to support her beloved quietly in the background. They were first seen together in public only in 1999. Moreover, the couple risked getting married even later, in 2005. The Queen did not even come to a modest wedding reception and bestowed the title of Duchess of Cornwall on Camilla. The future king's wife never had a title lower than Princess, but Camilla agreed. She had to endure a lot for the sake of her husband. Her Majesty refused to call Camilla by name, and she came to the wedding in white, showing complete disrespect. The Queen Mother even predicted Charles's new wife would destroy the monarchy because her subjects hated her. Camilla had to win the love of the people and the Queen for years, just as she won the heart of Charles.
I know she will bring to the demands of her new role the steadfast devotion to duty on which I have come to rely so much.
She agreed to spend her life in the shadow of her late rival, seeing the coldness in the eyes of her subjects. The future queen consort bare all of this for her love, which she had been waiting to enjoy for so long.